So let me know if you guys can see my screen. Hey, so guys, my name is Vishal. I'm the trainer here. I'm gonna introduce you guys to Dynamics 65 CRM and Power Platform. And I see quite a few people here, around 6 or 7. Uh, I'll tell you guys about a bit about myself. I have been working on Dynamics 65 since like uh, around around 10 years now. I started my career with Dynamics 65, sorry, not 65, Dynamics CRM 2013 version when it used to be on-premise, and I worked on further versions like 2015, 2016, Dynamics 65 when it was launched in 20 around end of 2016, and then I've been working on all these online versions and and Power Platform since as techno function consultant. I think it would be good if you guys can give me a quick overview of your level of expertise, or what are your expectations from this training, or where you guys are at in this on this topic. That would be better, I believe, before we start, so that I know my audience well. So if anyone want to start, just a quick introduction about yourself, mostly professionally, where you are in this space, basically.
Yeah, hi, this is Ram. So I actually have no idea, no background on this Dynamic 365. So I'm working on the Kofax technologies so far. So I'm just planning to change my career path to Dynamic CRM 365 actually. So we are expecting a project on that. So planning to work on that. So in that way, as a interview point of as well as the technically just to ready to work on the practically to get knowledge and move into this concept. For that, actually, I'm looking for.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey, hi sir. Good morning. Yeah, my name is Khalid.
Hey, Khalid. Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
yeah. Hi. Yes, sir. Actually, I was working in embedded domain since 2 years.
Mhm.
So actually now I am looking for a change. So actually I'm changing my field to this CRM thing. So like I also don't have any idea about the Dynamic 365 since now. So actually I really don't know what is the future in that actually. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Or maybe I would, if not everyone is comfortable talking here, maybe I'll just quickly ask one question. Can I assume that most of us here, most of the people here are very new to this thing? They have not heard of it, or they have not actually worked on this application in this space for long. Am I right? Maybe just raise a hand if you are already working on this thing for long and your expectations are slightly different, because so far my understanding is most of the people here might be looking at very new thing, and we'll take this session and overall training from that on that base only. Hey, Abhishek.
Hey, hi, this is Abhishek here, and
Hey.
I am actually into project management. I'm a project manager in one of the MNCs in India. The reason why I have opted for this training is that I'm actually managing a project, but to get more insight on how Dynamics works from a technical standpoint and to learn functionally, I have opted for this training. So that's my goal to get into the call today.
Yeah, that's pretty good reason to. No, I think it seems everyone, most of the people are pretty new, unless someone raise their hand or they say they have ample amount of experience, then we'll cater for them as well. Let me just quickly connect my headphone because I can't quite hear you guys. Hello. Maybe just give a reaction if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, yes, sure, we can.
Yeah, that's good. Sorry, because I changed my headphones, so I need confirmation. So I'm assuming most of the people here are pretty new to Dynamics 365 CRM as a poet, at least. They might be working on different fields. For example, I think Abhishek is working in project management, and some of you are working in different fields, and you are looking probably for a job change in this field, preferably to me look like in functional space mostly, and some of you might be looking to go in technical space as well. We'll probably get to know that better when we uh, have interaction with you guys more. So, so basically, what is Dynamics 365 or what is Dynamics CRM? We want to cover all of that in this first session, which is sort of demo session. We'll just take whole overview. We'll not go deep into things, but we'll uh, go touch each and everything which we have to offer in this Microsoft have to offer on this platform, and how people are using technology and this platform, how business are using this platform, and how people are working for different job profile in this platform in this field. People coming from different backgrounds. For example, developers which are coming from .NET background or different background working as developers. People who are coming from business analyst background or project management background. What it is there for them in this field, how they can they can enter in this field and how they can excel eventually. They can get a good job, they can have understanding of it, because eventually to crack interviews, it's not like you mug up few like 30-40 multiple choice questions. It's not like that. You need to have some knowledge. Even if you are looking for entry level job, you need to have a basic knowledge of the product, at least, if you want to go into this field, whether be it as a functional consultant or technical consultant. So before going deep into the product itself, I'll first tell you about the sort of different roles you have in this part. Primarily, there are two, I would say: functional consultant and technical consultant. So apart from that, you have some generic role like testers and business analyst and project manager, but which those are not any in any way related to only related to this part only. So Dynamics 365 technical consultant is the one who is doing all the customization, all the coding part of Dynamics 365, Dynamics CRM customization. For example, if whatever functionality can't be achieved by configuring the product. For example, you just consider it like you buy an application and it has some feature already, and if there are some additional feature, you need to ask someone to configure those feature or write a code to enable those features, right? So developers jobs or technical consultants job is to extend the features and dynamics so that the application cater for different business needs, because out of box dynamics specify is different, and it varies like what different businesses, different companies need for themselves. For example, if you are implementing this application for a let's say telephone service provider or a e-commerce company, they might have totally different needs. So you need developers for extending the capability of the platform which are not already there in platform, given by out of box or by configuration. And you need function consultant for various reasons, like you need function consultant for requirement gathering, discussion with customers. Function consultant's job is to discuss with customer what do they need, and then envision a solution in dynamics, like how dynamics, which features of dynamics, which modules of dynamics, which port in dynamics 365 can deliver the the services which customer is expecting. That's the job of a functional consultant, to identify, and then they gather all those requirements. They refine all those requirements. Refine as in they try to map those requirements with the existing features of the applications which they get, which you get out of box. And then they do different sort of analysis like fit gap analysis to figure out what is already available in the application, what you need to, for what you need to configure something, for what you need to customize something. So they do that sort of analysis, so that when they go into project development phase, they know what are the things for which they would gonna need developers, and then they'll estimate their developer needs and everything based on that, and then the project will go. So the functional consultant's job is to gather requirement, to map those requirements with the product, the existing feature, and find out the gaps, and then get those get that product, get the project delivered by configuring the requirement whichever are possible, or getting them customized or built by developers or development team. That's at high level the job of function consultant and technical consultants are. And if you guys have any question regarding anything which we are discussing here, I would say you guys can, I mean, you have just feel free to stop me and ask these questions here itself. Although we'll have a question and answer session at the very end as well if you have anything. But yeah, if
Yeah,
you anyone of you have any doubt regarding these major roles we have in this space, you guys can just ask.
yeah, Vishal. Quick question. So when it comes to the technical consultant, so it means it includes both functional as well as technical. Is that right?
Uh, so it's like primarily the role of technical consultant in most of the organization. I would say around 80% of organization is primarily writing code or extending the software. So their role or their job is not to act as a function consultant. Some companies do have roles called techno function consultant, where like one person who is having good knowledge on both front. They are having good word knowledge. They have good communication skill and presentation skill to talk to customers, as well as they know product very well and they do coding as well, some sort of coding as well. Not hard code coding. It's not like they can they can develop the whole project or such, but they know. I would say very at high level they know a lot of things in which using which they can customize the product. So that job is called techno function consultant. But apart from that, the technical consultant's job is to write code to extend the feature of the product.
Okay. So
And that
basically, it
writing,
may not
yeah,
not required, but if you know, it would be better. That's what actually you would say. Is some for some organizations, it may be include both. That is-
yeah. That's true. So and moreover, so for to be a really good technical consultant, you need to be either coming from, I would say, some coding background or having good interest in coding, or eventually you need to practice all those things at least, right? When you are trying to
yeah,
learn those things. So
yes,
for a
yes,
techno-functional consultant, it's good to know at high level. For example, you should have idea like what I need to do this, to deliver something. If there is a requirement, someone say like I want to do this, your customer say, as a good techno-functional consultant, you should know that it's not that you know that you need a developer for that, and after that you don't know anything at all. A good techno-functional consultant should know that for developer as well, developer would need to write this sort of code, this sort of component, this integration. They would need a SQL server, or they need a SRS report, or they would need to write a JavaScript code, or they would need to write a C# code, and it become as good as much you can do those sort of stuff as well.
okay, Vishal. So as part of this session, are you also showing us a tool, right? Just as a glimpse.
Uh, I can show you the tool actually. It's, I think maybe around the end of the session,
Yes.
or maybe when we are going to the architecture, if you see the fifth slide, I'm gonna show you the application itself. At least you'll see some look and feel of the application. You
Yes.
can, I mean, I understand it makes some picture, you make some picture in your mind by looking at the application rather than looking at the
Yeah.
slide. So yeah, for sure I'll show you
Yeah.
the application.
Yeah. Vishal, thank you. Yeah, that helps us. Please plan to
Yeah.
show this. Just not a much time, just as a high level. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Don't worry. Moving on to next slide. First of all, CRM. What is a CRM? CRM is a application, software application, which is used to manage how you interact with your customer or potential customer. Basically, all about you managing the data of your customer, your interaction with the customer, and how you want to enhance the services you provide to your customer. Services or product, whatever the business is doing. There could be some businesses which are providing some services, like let's say telecom provider, they are providing some services, right? On the other hand, there could be e-commerce company which is not providing service but selling the products, right? So any sort of business who is using a software using which they are managing interaction with data of their orders or everything, whatever their day-to-day business is, that software can be called CRM, customer relationship management software. And the main aim of CRM is to streamline the process of doing all this, like how you service your customer, how you eventually increase your profitability. Because if you can do same thing using Excel as well, if you just want to manage your customer interaction, but it's not very intuitive. It become very complicated at large scale. If you have organization having like thousands of customers, it become very difficult to manage using Excel. Let's just think about a small business, right? If it is a very small business, let's say they just have 20, 50, 30. customers. They can even manage their customers over email and in Excel sheet and everything. So it's still a sort of CRM only. It's just that it's not application. It's just they are managing it on their own. They are talking to customer via email separately. Let's say they are using Outlook or they are using Gmail or whatever, and then they are managing the orders. Let's say in their Excel or some other sheet or somewhere, and that's how they are doing it. That's the very basic things from where the requirement or need of CRM came from. Like how do you effectively manage things, what you are doing with your customer, including the interaction and their data, and what you are doing as a business process, whether you are selling things, you're providing different services. How do you streamline those processes? For that, CRM kind of application came into picture. And there are a lot of players in market. If I'm sure you guys must have heard about few names here. If you see here, like Zoho is a CRM application. Salesforce, Dynamics. Dynamics is the one uh, which is by Microsoft, and then you have HubSpot, and then you have a lot of different small CRM as well. But Salesforce and Dynamics CRM are the major player in the market of CRM applications. Apart from that, Zoho and HubSpot, they are also there. It's just that they are not as large as uh, like Dynamics or Salesforce. So they are different CRM provider, I would say, and they have their own capabilities to deliver uh, services on their software. And business choose all the software as per their need. For example, Dynamics as a software, as an application is very customizable. It's very good for the businesses, large scale businesses, which want the software, the application to be customizable as per their need. It's very good for them. But if let's assume a very small organization which have like few thousand of customers, and they really want to set up a quick CRM, then HubSpot might be a easy one for them, because it a bit cheaper, for example, and it doesn't require a lot of technical skill to configure everything at first, and then they don't want to invest that much money. So it depends on what the organization want, what their requirement are, and based on that they choose their CRM application. And that's when like Microsoft Dynamics get an upper hand on in that space, because a lot of the organization are already on Windows on Microsoft product. Like most organization are already using Office, Microsoft 365 or Office 365 suite. They're already using it. They might be already using Microsoft Teams, so it become a bit easier for them to migrate to Dynamics 365 because it is coming from Microsoft itself. So all the application which they have been already using, for example, most of the companies, for example, most of the business organization have Windows application on their laptops, on their customers, on their employee laptops or machines. They usually use Teams or they usually use Outlook. So Dynamics has very good integration capabilities with the existing application, and then the customer or the business doesn't feel like they sign up for an application which is very isolated from the world they have been working in. They feel like home. They have been working on Word or Excel, and they are still working on something which can easily integrate with these applications. Are you guys are you guys with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yes, yes.
Yes.
just a second. Let's move to next slide. Dynamics 365 overview. So in last slide, I gave you overview of CRM itself altogether, not from the perspective of Dynamics or Microsoft, but what is Dynamics 365 first of all? So Dynamics 365 is a cloud-based suite offered by Microsoft, which combined two core applications. One is called CRM, Customer Relationship Management from Dynamics, and another is called ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. So, for example, I told you guys about a lot of different CRM software like Salesforce and everything. Similarly, in ERP also there are different software. For example, SAP is one of the major ERP. But similarly, Microsoft also have their own ERP, which comes under the umbrella of Dynamics 365. So their ERP is generally called Finance and Operation, or there are some more like Business Central or Navision. They used to call it earlier, Exapta. But Dynamics 365 is an umbrella under which they are selling both these suites, both these applications. So Dynamics 365 is the big box under which
they sell these two different applications, and it depends on the need of the organization. Some organization might just need the CRM or Dynamics 365 CRM only. Some organization might just need the ERP part, and some organization might need both, and they integrate both of these applications. So though both of these applications are coming from Microsoft, but they are a bit different in what they can do, what they cannot do. But the good part is they can really easily integrate with each other because both of them are coming under the same umbrella of Dynamics 365, and both of them are provided by Microsoft. So there is really easy integration available between these two applications. And to understand, I already told you what's the use of CRM in last slide when we discussing about like this is majorly about how you interact with your customer, how you manage their data, how you streamline your process. On the other hand, enterprise resource planning is mostly about managing your orders, managing your procurement, managing your inventories, managing your all those sort of things. For example, let's say you are a ERP business, or you are an e-commerce business, I would say. So you could have two different things, right? One of the application would be majorly focus on how better you can make your interaction with customer as an end user. Let's say you are ordering something from Amazon, so how good your interaction is with Amazon. That is driven, or that is done by CRM side of application. For example, when you place an order, as you immediately get an email notification, you might be getting a SMS notification. Then you like when you call their call center person, they might easily fetch your detail, and then they tell you, sir or ma'am, we can see your order is at that place, and all those sort of things. So this side of part of the business, that is driven by CRM line of application, whereas the other part, for example, that's why I really like to use example of e-commerce website, because they generally use both. So where they manage their inventory, all the products which they are shipping, for example, Amazon is shipping millions of products every day, right? So they are shipping your product, and in their warehouse all over the world, or all over the cities, they have different products, right? So they must be managing all those inventories and everything somewhere in some software only, right? They can't just keep it in like hundreds or thousands of products in a warehouse, and they can't sort everything manually. So where they are, how they are keeping those their products, what sort of inventory they have, from where do they need to bring more inventory, where they are getting more orders. That side of things are managed by enterprise resource planning software. So enterprise resource planning application under Dynamics 365 is generally called finance and operation, as I told, and that is again already coming also coming under umbrella of Dynamics 365 only. For example, if you see here, sales, customer service, finance, and supply chain. So sales and customer service, these are coming under CRM line of application. Finance and supply chain, they are coming under ERP line of applications. And depending on what the organization is doing, for example, if it is a telecom service provider, they are more on CRM side. They are a bit less on ERP side, because they are not selling a product, they are selling some services. So they might be having this sort of hardcore ERP application. They might be having their in-house sort of custom build application or something to manage their what services they are providing to you. But for example, as I told you about, for example, e-commerce company, they have to have a ERP software. Otherwise, they can't manage their inventory, their orders, their supply chain, from where they need to route their inventories, where they have less inventory. All those sort of things they need to manage in their enterprise resource planning software. So these are different modules here under Dynamics 365, but again, sales and services come under CRM, finance and operation, all these things come under ERP. What are the benefits of using Dynamics 365 here? Basically, you use this sort of application to streamline, first of all, you to streamline the process, because you don't want to to be in your, or the businesses don't want to be in that position where they can't cater the customers need. If their customers are not happy, they're going to lose the customer. For example, if you're not happy with Amazon, you're going to go to a different website next day, and you're going to order from them. So if their interaction with you is not good, it's not data driven, if they don't have enough information about you already, and they don't have more insight about customer, they don't know, for example, what our customer needs are. For example, nowadays you see, like earlier, all these e-commerce websites used to take a lot of time in delivering things, but now they have better customer insight. They know for metro cities, these are the highly selling products. For tier 2 cities, these are the highly selling products, for example. And that's how they route their inventories and everything. they pull more inventory of those high selling product in those areas where they sell more. So they have better customer insight because of these applications, right? And that's why they are being able to cater their customer in better way now. For example, now your delivery time generally for this application within from these websites, for example, is within 1 or 2 days, whereas it used to be weeks earlier, right? So all this has been done because of this application only, because this sort of application have improved the insight they have on customer, on their business processes are streamlined. If there is any issue, if let's say if your product, if your order is stuck somewhere, they in their application they can track it really easily. They have each data point, like it has left the warehouse, it is at that airport now, it is at that warehouse now, it is at center now, it is with the courier guy now. So all these things are that are possible only because of this sort of application which streamline the end-to-end process and capture all the data points. If you don't capture all these points and you call, for example, Amazon or your service provider, and then they'll say, okay, sir, we don't know where your courier is, and allow us 2 days to locate your courier, you will be very frustrated with the service provider or the business, right? You would not like to work with them, or you would not like to purchase things from them if they say, look, we don't know where your courier is or where your parcel is, and we need 2 days to locate it, right? So all these sort of things have been possible because they have these applications where they capture all the data which they need to better understand the need of customer, to streamline the process, and to have the data for reporting everything. So all of this is possible because of the way they are using these applications. They are customizing these applications and depending on what application they are using. So that is overall how what Dynamics 365 is. We'll go and have a brief look at on the version history of CRM or Dynamics 365. So earlier, before 2016, it used to called CRM only, Dynamics 365 CRM. So CRM line of application were different, and there used to be ERPF line of application. They used to call Exapta AX or Navision. Navision was also one application, but CRM side of application was like initial was 3.0. In fact, there was some version before that also, but these are very initial version of CRM application Microsoft launched initially, and then some like they keep on improving these application over the year. Like 2011 was one version, and then 2013 was one version, and they keep on improving the UI and UX and the backend and everything. 2015. So all these years actually signifies when they were launched. 2011 was launched in 2011 and 13 and 15 and 16. And in 2016, around end of 2016, they launched Dynamics 365. And since then, they have never launched this application as standalone CRM 2018 or something like that. They have been taking it forward in term of in sense of Dynamics 365 only, with different version version of different modules of version 9.0, version 9.1, and all sort of versions. And similarly, when these things come under the umbrella of Dynamics 365, they launched the application of Exapta into a new form called FNO, which is now majorly cloud based. So till like 2013 or 15, there were more of the application, most of the application, or in fact, I would say all of the application were on premise. But around 15, 2016 were the time when Microsoft pushing customer and pushing to cloud based application or the online application. So what is the difference between these two sort of application, on-premise and cloud-based application? This is essentially the same application. It's just that just consider it like this. For example, you are using Facebook, or you are using Instagram, or you are using Amazon. These are cloud-based applications. You don't do anything for them, right? Anything for that, right? Or let's say you have a let's say you have a PDF editor application online. So you go to their website, you log in with your account, and then you can do your job, and then you just log out. So you don't know how this application is working behind the scene, where this application is hosted. What you are just doing is you are just using that application, and that's when you call these applications as SaaS application, software as service, like software being provided as service. So when Microsoft started moving these applications or providing these applications as online version as well, a lot of commercial customer who didn't want to maintain the application by themselves, because till the version of 2013 and 15, any customer, any business who need a Dynamics 365 application, they need to have a virtual machine or a data center, or I would say not data center, but a lot of machines or small data center in their organization, or they need to hire a virtual machine from different third-party providers, and then they need to deploy them as a standalone application, and then they needed to maintain those applications and the server and everything. So that was the era of on-premise applications, which are still available, which are not widely used nowadays because everyone want to use cloud-based application where there's less headache of maintaining everything, but more customers don't want to waste their time in maintaining the application itself. Like, if just assume if you are a business and you want application like this, you would want to focus more on your business and business process rather than making sure your application is up and running, right? So that's why the online or cloud-based application came into picture and they started selling more because customers were more interested in focusing on their core business of selling or providing those services or selling their products rather than maintaining the software and investing a lot of money and energy and time and resources in maintaining the application itself. So just try to think about it like if you have a small business, you have few thousand customers, you don't want to spend a lot of time in configuring the VM, making sure your web application is up and running every time, investing few developer in doing that. Rather than you'll say, I'll rather pay $100 per month and someone else do it and they host the application on their cloud and I just go there and log in with my credentials and it should do my job. So I want to focus on my business. So I hope now you guys have better idea of why the cloud-based applications are more widely used nowadays. I'll take a pause here. If you guys, anyone of you have any question, you can ask around the versioning on and difference between on-premise and online or cloud-based application. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Moving on to architecture. So just a second, let me in background. I'm trying to open the application as well. I'll not take a lot of time in just in slide. I'll quickly show you guys the application also so that you guys can you guys can have some feel of how this application looks like rather than just looking at the slides and can't visualize anything like how this application looks like. Uh, but before that, we'll just go through this slide, these things first here at high level. So Dynamics 365 CRM application, it has CRM application architecture, it has different layers. You have presentation layer, like how you want to show things to the end user. You have web client, you have mobile client. When I say web client means you have web application which is accessible through web browser. You have mobile application which is available on Android and Windows, Android and iPhone. So you can use that mobile application as well to log in and do your job, day-to-day job, or be it related to sales or customer service or whatever you are doing. And then you can extend the feature of these web and mobile application both using configuration or customization. So when I say configuration, which is generally done by functional consultant or technical consultant can also do it, but configuration doesn't require any specific expertise in any programming language. Configuration is just like, let's say I ask you to create an Excel sheet, right? So if you know bit about Excel, you can create Excel sheet, you can do some you can add some formulas. If I have asked, like, we need some of these rows, we need grouping and all this stuff. So configuration is just like that only. But customization is like extending a feature. For example, let's say I ask something which can't be done in Excel right away, but you need to write some macros on Excel to do this. So then you need specific expertise to write macros. So similarly, customization in CRM application is like writing that specific code to extend the application in the way in which business wants or to fulfill the business requirements. So custom configuration, you can use forms, you can use business rules, you can use views, you can use dashboards. Right now, I understand most of these terms might not be making a sense for you guys, like what this guy is talking about, like what is dashboard or what is a view or what is a business rule. And I totally get it because these things might not make sense at this moment. But when you go deep into these things, one will go through rest of the sessions later on. You will understand these things better. But I'll quickly show you the application to give you a feel of what the presentation layer is. So I hope you can see this application here. And you see here, This application is called Candidate Management System. We have built this application for an organization who is like a recruitment company. They manage candidates, they organize interviews, they do training classes, they have training candidates, and they have interviewers and interviewees and everything. They have different projects. So they are managing all of their process using this application. And we have built this application by mostly configuring the Dynamics CRM application and little bit of customization here and there wherever it was not possible to achieve what they wanted. And when I say what, I'll give you some examples as well. What I mean by customization or configuration. For example, you see these on the left hand side. You see all these. Uh, Earlier they used to call it ribbon, but now like on left hand side you see all these different uh, links here basically in your set because you guys don't know about this word right now. I'll try to use some generic terms here, but these things are nothing but different tables where you store the data. For example, you store the data of different candidates here. You store data of different accounts, which could be your companies. For example, there could be different companies to whom you send your candidates for interviewing, right? And then there would be job leads, for example, jobs available. There is a SQL administrator job available. There is a Azure engineer job available. So these here, for example, you see are the tables where you store the data of different type of things. You store data of candidate, you store data of account, you store of leads, you store data of project, you store data of interviews, you store data of interviewers, you store data of training classes. So what I'm trying to say here, all these things are not out of box, but some of them are out of box. When I say out of box means when you buy the subscription of this application, CRM application, you get this Dynamics 365 CRM application like this. And then there are some tables which you get by default. For example, account table and contact table you get by default. Like you can store the company's data directly, you can store the contacts or person's data directly, you can store the tickets or cases. For example, when you call up to a call center and say, I have this issue in my mobile phone or something to a telecom service provider or maybe your mobile phone provider, uh, they log your information somewhere, right? They issue somewhere, they note it down. So they might be noting down that down in they're actually creating a record somewhere. They're tagging your record somewhere. They're mentioning like Abhishek has issue in his mobile phone or in SIM card. He's not getting proper network in that area. These are all issues he has mentioned. He has been facing these issues since yesterday. These are the steps he has already done, and these are the steps I have asked Abhishek to perform on his mobile phone or SIM card or whatever, and the issue is not resolved yet. What are the next step? And then from that application itself, from this sort of application itself, they will write down the next step. So that's what happened, right? You call them, they said give us time of like 24 hours, 36 hours. We're gonna work on this application. I'm gonna send these requests to some other teams. That's the common statement you might have heard a lot of time, right? So from where that thing is coming from, because they have, it's not like they are keeping a notepad, copy pencil, or a or a notepad or Excel sheet somewhere and noting these things down, and then they are going running here and there to talking to different people and asking them to resolve your problem. No, that's not how this works. What they do, they create a record here. For example, I'm seeing you from this table. For example, if you see, this is a record of a person called Abdul Hassan. So all the information related to of Abdul Hassan is in this record. That's how they see your data, those companies, and that's how they are able to cater you. They are able to service you better because they know what sort of applications you are using. Or let's say I'll again fall back to the classic example of e-commerce. For example, let's say there is a customer and they have different orders. So here from the contact only, they can see what different orders you have placed, what are the orders which are being shipped right now, what are the orders you have placed in past, what are the cancel orders. So they can see all of this information and they can log the tickets from this application itself. They can log a case and then they can assign that case to different person or different team. And then this becomes the responsibility of that team to work on that ticket and case to resolve the problem of the customer or resolve the issue of the customer. So do you guys, I mean, is this all of this making some sense? How or why we are using this application and what add value we are doing with this application for the businesses? What is
Yeah,
my
yes, Vishal.
presentation?
Yeah, just
Yeah, so we were at this here presentation layer, web client and mobile client. So these two terms might not have made sense so far, but now if you look, this is nothing but a mobile web client. Web client, something which can be accessed via web browser. And when I say mobile client, something which can be accessed via mobile phone, a mobile phone application, or application which you download from Google Play Store or Apple Store. So that's what it is like. Dynamics CRM has web client, which is nothing but this. You buy the license, you configure the application, and then you just log in with your using your credential. And then different user can log in using their credentials, and then they see their own view. So this is web client, this is mobile client, and as I told you about configuring things, forms. So this is nothing but a form. For example, for contact, we have different sort of forms. Forms are different way of capturing information or showing information. For example, for candidate, for a contact, for a customer, we want to to store a lot of information. But for each team, we don't want to show every information to every team, right? Let's say, let's assume you are a bank, you are a customer of bank, and let's assume bank is storing your detail on a contact record. So they don't want to show the each and every detail you have. Let's say you have a credit card, your debit card, and they have stored your debit card numbers, be it secure or in plain text or whatever, or your address. So they don't want to show all of that information to each and every one, right? So that's why they use different forms. For example, finance team can see finance related data only, right? Marketing team can see data related to marketing only, and customer service team can only see data related to marketing, so customer service. It should not be like customer service team or finance team is able to look at your address and they are able to misuse these things and all, right? So that's where you use forms and everything. And similarly, you have business rule to show hide things or make things mandatory. When you're capturing the information, you see these red dots here. Basically, these are implying that this information is mandatory. You need to make sure you have this information. If you don't have this information, you can't save this record. So that's what business rules can do. You can do this sort of configuration. Like, let's say if customer asks, like, boss, I want to make sure when you capture a contact, we always capture the birth date. So using a business rule, you can make things mandatory. Conditionally, by default, using a configuration itself, you can make things mandatory. For example, we have birthday mandatory. If I try to clear it and try to save the record, you see, birthday required field must be filled. So this is the level of configuration I'm talking about. This sort of configuration are possible in this application, which you can configure very easily based on customer needs. Some customer would say, I don't want to make birthday mandatory, but I want to make something else mandatory, right? For example, email should be mandatory. So you make your email mandatory. But if there is something like they say, I want to make sure that when you type a phone number, it is in a particular format. That's not out of box possible in Dynamics. Like, you need to write some sort of JavaScript code on front end to validate. For example, I'll give you a pretty good example here. For example, this customer, they have asked that their phone number should be in this format only, xxx dash xxx dash xxx. So if I try to say something like this and see, this is the custom validation, not a valid phone number, please follow these formats. Like, you type either like this, or you type like this, or you type like this. So why I'm trying to show you these kind of stuff. I'm trying to show you how you can customize your application as per your requirements you get from your customer, whatever requirement you get. And that's when Dynamics is very useful, because not all of the customer will have same requirement, right? Some customer would have different requirement. Customer in sitting in UK would have different phone numbers. Customers sitting in India would have different phone number need, right? Phone number formatting need, and some might not even care about storing the phone number at all, for example. So it depends on what they need, and that's how you configure and customize your application. Server layer is the layer where you host all these information, where you process all this information. For example, this front end layer is the layer where we are showing this information to the user. But there must be something or some place or some server where all this information is being stored and processed, right? When you save, when you save this birth date is going somewhere, and via some process, there would be some logic written on everything. So that's where your server layer comes into picture, where you host the whole CRM web application. So just consider it like I'm not sure if you guys know a little bit about like programming applications. For example, you have any web application, let's say Facebook or Google or something. So essentially, they are hosted on some computer somewhere in the world. So similar way, CRM application is also hosted somewhere on some computer in the world. It's just that if it is a cloud base, it is hosted by Microsoft in their data center. If it is a on-premise, it is hosted by the customer itself in their data center in their own machine or their virtual machine. So that's where your server layer is. Business layer is where you write your business logic. One customer says, your customer say like when you try to save a record, you want to validate that your birth date is not before some XYZ date. Let's say you can't enter a birth date which is less than 1950. We can't have that old people or 1900, let's say, or some other different sort of validation. So those sort of things you write using extensions like plugin, workflows, business process flow. Business process flow are again really good example of how you can streamline your business process in Dynamics using something which you can configure. For example, let's say you have a lead in sales process. The lead is something like you call to some XYZ company or let's say XYZ bank, like I'm interested in buying your credit card. So you are a lead for them. But how do they pursue that lead in future? How do they call you tomorrow and day after tomorrow? They tell you about their products. You tell them about your requirements. So you must have seen like this. They really spend good amount of time in pursuing you to buy their product or their service, right? They are doing that via leads. So it's not only by just capturing the data, but following a certain business process. So all the organization have business process defined. Banks have business process defined. Like if someone ring their call center that I need your credit card, they have certain defined process that okay, if someone is ringing for credit card, you check their you do a background check, you see if they are credit worthy, if they can be given credit card or not. If yes, then this lead will go to different team. They will call back the customer again. They'll follow up with the customer. They'll ask customer if they are okay to get this card. You'll tell about different cards to them and all that, right? So all these things can be streamlined using business process flow, where you can define, company can define, this is the flow I want to follow to be followed by my users when they work with the customer in my application. Similarly, configuration is possible using workflows, business process flow, Power Automate. These are different mechanism or tools, I would say, which you will use over time when you will work with the Dynamics application to streamline the process to achieve the requirement of your customer. And then customization is possible, like whatever is not possible by configuring using the business process flow or workflow or Power Automate or business tool, you'll ask the developer team or development team to build some extension using .NET plugin or workflow activities, and then you can do all sort of stuff, that sort of stuff, which is not possible using plain configuration. So things like this or things like this configuration using form business rules are generally a job of functional consultant. Things like this are generally a job of technical consultant. In general, technical consultant would also know how to do this. It's just I'm trying to tell you the primary duty of each role, what they are. Now going back to data layer, where this all of this data is stored. Essentially, this is nothing but an application. So somewhere this data is being stored, and you can guess this amount of data, this huge relation database can't be stored at somewhere in Excel or something, right? So behind the scene, Microsoft is storing this data in a database called Dataverse, and this is where they store it. So this is where you see all the tables. So I'm sure you might have heard about databases like SQL or MySQL or some different databases. So similarly, Dataverse is a database which is built on the top of SQL. So in cloud-based Dynamics CRM application, you don't see the SQL database altogether. You generally don't access the SQL, although there are ways nowadays to connect to SQL as well. So behind the scene, all of this data is stored in SQL only, but it's just that working with SQL is really cumbersome as compared to working with Dataverse. So that's why Dynamics Microsoft built a really nice interface on the top of SQL, and they call it Dataverse, where, for example, you need to create new column. So you need not to be expert in writing SQL queries. You can go to account table and you can add a new column. Let's say your customer say that I want to capture XYZ information of my account or my contact. I want to capture 5 email address or 2 email address and 3 phone numbers. So you can go and create one more column on this table. So table is just like a stack of data basically, right? Which have different rows, and column is like individual piece of information. For example, you as a person have different sort of information. You have your name, your first name, last name, your mobile number, your date of birth. So these would be stored in different columns in each row, and each row is one person in contact table. So it is like that. So what I'm trying to say, database is the database which is built on the top of SQL only, but you generally don't access SQL or can't access SQL easily in Dynamics, or you can't do much with SQL directly, but you do using this because this is more user friendly. All the people who are not coming from programming background, SQL background, they can easily create new table, create new relationship. They can link account with the contact, or they can link lead with a contact, or a lead with a person easily using this interface. So that's where the database is coming from. So database in itself is seen as database, but behind the scene it's using Microsoft SQL only. Now integration layer, this is some extension of the things like if you're building a large scale product or application for some organization, they might need to integrate that application with different application. For example, when you call to customer care, right? They don't always have all information in single software. They might not be storing your order information. That order information might be coming from a different application in ERP, right? So that's where you use integration technologies like our Automates or .NET based plugin or Azure based services like Azure Logic Apps or Azure App Services. All these to integrate data from different applications to Dynamics, or sending data from Dynamics to different applications. So to and fro, both way you can use this. So I'll take a pause here and I'll wait for any question if you guys have so far, or in the actual application which I have showed you guys, if you guys have any question in there.
Yeah, Vishal. So regarding coming to this customization part, so are these fixed technologies to use only C# .NET, or other scripting languages also can we use, like Perl or Python and VB scripter?
Yeah, so there are fixed set of languages you can use in Dynamics for customization, because Microsoft Dynamics is coming from background of Microsoft, right? Microsoft built it.
Yeah.
So they generally, it can be extended primarily in C# .NET or JavaScript, HTML, React. So primarily these are the languages you can use to extend it. You can't use Perl or Python in general to do anything within Dynamics. Anything outside Dynamics, let's say you want to integrate some data from XYZ application to Dynamics, that you can write in your own application, own language, right? That doesn't matter because that is sitting somewhere outside. If you are
Yes.
if you are integrating some other data, you can do using Excel as well, you can do using SQL as well, or you can just write a write some sort of scripting language, whichever you know and which can connect to Dynamics. But in general, when you work on Dynamics platform, when you start, like let's say you're technical consultant or you are functional consultant, you generally stick to these because these are best supported with Dynamics. For example, for every extension, you need to use C# .NET. There's no other way. You can't use Python or Java or anything else. For
Yeah.
all front-end side of customization, you can only use JavaScript or React or HTML. You can't use, for example, Angular or anything as such in general within Dynamics.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any other question, guys? Or we'll quickly move to different modules in Dynamics. So these are different modules in Dynamics CRM. And when I say module, is like a collection of processes which are done together, which can be sold together as a bag. For example, sales is a module which is generally sold to a customer who is looking to CRM to streamline their sales process. For example, they want to see, for example, let's say a bank, they want to capture detail of their customer, or a potential customer who are calling them, and then they want to follow up to the customer to sell their loan or home loan or personal loan or credit card. Then they might want sales process, right? Or sales module. Service, for example, a mobile phone repair center, let's say, or you're buying your mobile phones, your company, right? So they do have their service center. How are they managing your data and your process of servicing or repairing your mobile phone or fixing the issues with your phone? They are managing that via using service module of their application. So if they are using Dynamics, they would use service module because service module offer those tables, those processes which are aligned with service applications. Marketing, for example, any marketing company or any business who is more into marketing side of things, they want to use Dynamics for marketing, they'll use marketing module. So when I say module is something like, if you see here on the top, this candidate management system, it's one module, means whatever is in there, it's primarily related to candidate management system only. If you click here, you see different applications here, like you see here, you see Sales Hub, you see customer service workspace, or you see uh, customer service hub. This is for customer service. This application is for customer service. This is for sales. So this is how you have different sort of modules, and these modules can be used by different teams or one team, or how the business wants to use it. Marketing, as I told you, teams businesses who want to use Dynamics for marketing, they prefer using marketing module. Field service is generally for, it's the extension of service, I would say, but it's very mature field service where, for example, let's say you buy air conditioner from Hitachi and there is an issue with air conditioner. So it's not normal service that you just don't call it, they don't just fix it from there, right? They try to fix it from there, they will ask you to remote it or do something here and there. But at the end, they would say, okay, we're gonna dispatch our agent to you guys, right? And who gonna reach to your place? They gonna come with part. They're gonna look at your appliance. They're gonna find the problem, and if they find the problem, they might fix it then and there, or they might need to come back to get the part or anything. So field services for managing the customer service in the field. This is for that. It could be fixing your appliances or doing any sort of services in the field. That is where field services primarily used for. Is there any question, guys, on these modules?
No.
Okay, good. Moving on to Power Platform. So far we talked about Dynamics 365, we talked about CRM and ERP. ERP very little bit because we are not focusing here on ERP. CRM in detail. What is Power Platform? Power Platform is basically, it was built by Microsoft. When Microsoft came up with Dynamics 365, they came up with a sort of tools and technologies which were more on low code, no code tools or technologies, where you don't require specific skills of programming in JavaScript or .NET or something to achieve your things, to achieve or fulfill your requirement, where you could use very user-friendly Excel-like formulas. For example, if you have worked on Excel formulas, those are very basic formulas, and then you get familiar with Excel, you start advancing in the Excel formulas as well. Similarly, Power Platform is a tool offered by or set of tools, low code, no code tools available offered by Microsoft, which comes under the umbrella of Dynamics 365 only. It's just that Power Platform can be sold separately, but it sits along with Dynamics 365. Means whatever you are doing in CRM application behind the scene, it's being stored in Dataverse, which can talk directly to the Power Platform. So all these applications are together talking to each other, but Power Platform is more of user-friendly way of doing customization and configuration, where you are doing very less of coding, but very more like a lot of configuration and low code stuff. So in next slide, we'll quickly look at different components we have, like Power Apps, Canvas app, and model driven app. So that's what I was saying. Like all these apps basically are called model driven app because these are driven by the model or the data. Like first you define your data, like your organization needs, say, account, contact, case, lead, all these table, and then you come up with these apps. And these apps are basically structured based on your data. But another thing is called Canvas app. Those are mobile friendly or tablet friendly apps you can build, which can use any database at backend. They can use Dataverse, which is behind the scene used by model driven app or CRM, or they can use any database. There are there are hundreds of connector available to connect to Canvas app. You can use SQL, you can use Excel sheet, you can use OneDrive, Google Drive, you can use any sort of database, you can use SharePoint to connect to Power App. And Power App provide you a drag and drop sort of application, sort of a platform where you can build mobile first or tablet first applications. So for this sort of application, you don't need expertise in Angular or React or any sort of mobile development technologies. Again, next component is Power Automate, which is business automation, process automation using drag and drop technology where you don't really need coding knowledge to do that. So if your customer have some requirement where you need to automate something, let's say they say like on birthday of my customer, on their birthday I want to send them a birthday email, right? So how would you do it? So that's where you use this sort of tools to automate that stuff. Like you will write a Power Automate where you will check, you'll run that Power Automate every day. You'll check who has birthday today. You'll send an email wishing them happy birthday that day. So this is just one very basic example. You can do a lot of stuff with Power Automate. Next come Power BI. Power BI is the analytics tool from Microsoft, which sits on the top of all these application Microsoft provide, ERP and CRM and Power BI helps you in reporting and creating interactive dashboard. So the thing is, you can create basic dashboard and reporting in Dynamics, but CRM, but that is very limited. But Power BI provide you very next level reporting and dashboard capabilities. So they want to customer or business want to see how my customers are doing or how my team is doing or where we are investing more money or from where we are getting more lead or from where we are getting more issues, right? So they can analyze all those sort of data and see and visualize that in reports and dashboards, and then they can monitor their KPIs. Power Virtual Agent is the last component in this suite. So Power Virtual Agent is like they are the chatbots you can build, low code, no code chatbot again. Like you don't need to really write any code for that. And these chatbots you can host you can host these chatbots in Dynamics, and your customer, if they go on your website, they'll see this chatbot bot first, and however you configure these chatbots, they'll talk to your customer and try to get as much information from customer and resolve their issue before routing the request to the actual call center agent or service agent. So you can use Power Virtual Agents for building those no code chatbots. So it's like customer support. So generally, like you go to the website of any organization nowadays, and they generally have chatbot, right? On the generally on right hand side, like they said, how can I help you? So if you type anything to them, that chatbot try their very best to answer your query, but in worst case, if they can't answer, they route you to the customer agent. So the role of chatbot is to minimize the number of requests which are being routed to the actual agents, but try to cater the customer request by the agent itself first, and if not, then gather the correct information and route that request to the support desk agent. What are the benefits of Power Platform? It empower non-developers, so people who don't have background for coding or very much in technology. It empowers them. If they have knowledge of business or process, they can use these Power Platform tools to build processes, build applications which follow certain processes and add value for their organizations. Second thing, rapid innovation, because it doesn't involve a third party or a lot of developers and everything. You fail fast, you do things, you try things, and you build things, you test things very rapidly, and you deploy things rapidly. It's cost effective because you don't need very specific expertise. You don't need to hire a .NET developer or JavaScript developer or React developer to do things. All your little bit of technical people in your business, if they are interested in pursuing Power Platform, they can start envisioning the solution and writing down on configuring and writing low code solution in Power Platform. And last but not the least, scalable and secure, because it is built on top of Azure and provided by Microsoft as a suite along with the Dynamics 365. It give you same level of scalability and security as Microsoft provide with all of the tools. So Microsoft is responsible for all the scalability and security, and you need not to worry about all of those things. So I think this is all I have planned for this session for today. And I think next slide is just about questions. If you guys have any questions, you guys can ask.
So is the power of, as you said, is that a part of that Dynamics CRM suite, or will it be a separate plugins which we have to get uh, additionally for to
Power App is
put?
like a Power App is not a additional Power App is not additional plugin or something. They are tightly blended. Like what I'm trying to say. So you see, although this earlier, I would say classically it used to be called CRM application. Now Microsoft call it a model-driven app. So all these apps are model-driven app, and you have Canvas app. So these are not Power App application, but on the same data you can build Power App application, like you can build a Canvas app, which is called a Power App application, which is a little bit different. So what I'm trying to say, it is not a extension plugin you need to install when you get a license for Dynamics. You already get all these capabilities to do all these sort of solutioning. It just depends on what sort of licenses you additionally would need for, let's say, you want to automate things using flows. So you might need an additional license to do use that flow, write that flow. But it's already available there. You don't need to install an external plugin or do something in your environment, because before getting the CRM application, you first get this Power Platform environment. So all this CRM application nowadays are sitting under Power Platform actually. So if you see
Yeah.
on the
So
top
my
of,
my
yeah,
question is, so if I go for the subscription of the CRM Dynamics, so will this automatically free of as part of that subscription Power Apps?
that's pretty much true. There are some
Thank you.
nuances like how
Yeah.
much you want to use it and all, and that is generally not like not the headache of developer or functional consultant to take care of that. Ultimately, the big picture is like when customer is going for a platform, they discuss with the architects and everything to figure out how it's going to cost, how much it's going to cost them the application, or if they want application as well, is it going to cost them more? Because there are some licenses with which you get a lot of free stuff to do in Power Platform, and there are some licenses with which you need to buy some additional licenses to do things in Power Platform. So it's like things are blend. They are not running in silos. All of these things are tight, like integrated and or easily available to be integrated.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey Vishal,
Uh,
I have
yeah.
I have a query regarding Power App. So in our course, would you be just covering it theoretically, or would there be any practical? Or we just thought it involves a license and there is a cost associated. So is
Sorry,
that
you're
covered in?
I mean, I can't hear you 100%. I got your first part about whether you will be covering theory and everything, but I couldn't quite hear you
Yeah, yeah.
after that.
I'll just cut it short. So would there be practicals as well for Power Apps in our course?
Yeah, for sure there would be practical. So what we're gonna do when we go deep dive into things, for example, I showed you forms, right? So in this demo session, I'm gonna show you how to customize that form. I'll come up with a scenario. Let's say today our scenario is we want to add this sort of validation in this form and how we can do it. And then you guys can spin up your own CRM trial environment, Dynamics trial environment, which you guys can use for 30 days to play around. And you can do this stuff along with me, or you can do this stuff later
Yeah, that
after
that
the
piece
session.
I got. I get that. I mean, I'm more specific towards Power App. So since you said it has license cost associated to it, so
No,
would
no, no,
that
no.
be covered
What
as
I'm
well?
saying for this sort of session or playing around, there's no licensing cost. Licensing cost is for using the application commercially.
Okay, okay, sure.
Okay.
Well, that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
answers my
For
question.
pro,
Thank you.
pro learning and all, you can just spin up a trial and you can pretty much do everything for developing Power App and everything. You can do as much as you want to. License and everything comes into picture when you are commercially using the application. That's it.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. Is there any other questions from anyone?
Yeah,
Hi,
Vishal,
Vishal.
one.
Yeah, Naveen, go ahead.
Hi,
Yeah.
Vishal. Yeah, just wanted to know what will be the future of this Dynamics CRM? because we are into other platforms right now, and just we wanted to move to CRM, right? So just wanted to know what will be the future and how will be the job openings and uh, etc.
So to my mind, like future of Dynamics, because this is coming, first of all, this is coming from one of the, if you guys know, Microsoft is, I guess, the largest organization in this world at the moment in term of market capitalization. I think around 3 billion or sorry, 3 trillion or so, more than 3 trillion. So what I'm trying to say, they are heavily investing in this application since like last 10 years. So, and that's when they pushed all these Power Platform, Power Portal, and everything. And nowadays, you must be hearing a lot of buzz about AI and everything since like last 1.5 or 2 years, right? And if you see the pace at which Microsoft have invested in OpenAI and everything, and they have integrated these things right right in this application itself. Like right nowadays, I don't think there are a lot of CRM players in the market who have inbuilt AI capabilities in their application itself. Microsoft already have the Dynamics already have Copilot in all of their application in their Power Portal, in their CRM application itself, where you can query in generic language. So what I'm trying to tell you, they are heavily betting on it. And if they are heavily betting on it, you can be rest assured that it's gonna last longer, if not something like dying application or something. Did I answer your question, Naveen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any other question?
Yeah, Vishal. So, regarding if we want to, I mean, as part of this course, or normally if we how to join, so is that normally covers this entire all the modules, like as you said, sales, service, marketing, field service, and as well as other roles like a functional and technical and other roles. So all these will be covered as part of this CRM dynamic course, or we need to
Uh,
go in separately for as a module wise or role wise?
just a second. I do have the course content with me. Let me quickly have a look. What do we have and what do we not have?
Okay. Okay.
So, in terms of this course, we are going to cover these primary modules which Microsoft offers in Dynamics, like sales, service, etc. We might not go in detail into field service and everything because all of these, they, only the only these three are not the only module. There are a lot of modules available, and you can't master in each and everything. As long as you are comfortable understanding what is the process in sales and service, that's the first and foremost in the step to understand what is the process, how do you do that process in Dynamics, and after that, how do you configure things in that? Because even if you're selling a sales to someone or service to someone, or a lot of companies nowadays ask extension, like they customize their CRM as their need. They don't use sales process or service process default offered by Microsoft, but they build their own process. So the most important skill right now is to be able to come up with the design and develop that application by yourself, rather than be able to understand each and every application, sales, service, field service, and everything what out of box has to offer, but you can't configure the application on your own. Because even if you configure sales application, there also my customer is going to ask you about extending that application. So what is most important? First, you have basic understanding how sales and service module works in Dynamics. After that, you should have really good understanding of how you can configure Dynamics, how you can configure CRM to achieve customer requirement, because that would be the day-to-day job of every functional. Because out of box module, the sales guy will pitch in and you're gonna spin that up in within few days. But after that, customer will come back with hundreds of requirements, or you need to provide a small modification here and there in existing out of box modules. But if you don't know how to do that configuration, that extension, then there is no point of just knowing the out of box application, out of box modules. So what I'm trying to say, will not go in deep in all of the modules we have in Dynamics because there are a lot. As long as you guys are very comfortable in sales, customer service, and little bit in field service, I would say you should be good. After that, you should focus more on how you customize it, how do you customize any table, how you customize any form, how you customize, how you deploy things, because that is the day-to-day job. That day-to-day job is not just configuring the sale application, selling it, and then sitting. Or that's not the day-to-day job of any function. In each organization, you are supposed to deliver something and then keep supporting the customer, whatever the new requirement are or their existing issues are. So you should be able to handle those sort of stuff, and we'll go to understand how you do that in real life.
Okay, so basically you mean to say sales and service mostly are the major modules which we can cover for both point of like functional as well as the technical, right? So as I said.
Yeah. So I would say technically there is nothing specific to a module. If you really ask me,
Okay.
technically there is nothing is specific to a module. For example, if you know how to write JavaScript code to do something that you can do in
Mm-hmm.
sales or service or anywhere, because sales or service is nothing but a box of subtables. Sales is like selling process, service is servicing process. But if you know writing a JavaScript code, you know you can do it in everywhere. Same. If I
Yes.
tell you to hide something, you can hide it in X form and Y form and Z form in any application. So technical components are not at all related to or sticking to any module.
Okay. Okay, Vishal. Thank you.
I think we are pretty well over time now. If you guys have any further question, we can take it up.
Hi,
Otherwise, I
Vishal.
think
Just quick one
yeah.
more question. Some
Yeah.
people are calling it as CE as well. What's the difference, CE and CRM?
So there is no difference actually. That's just Microsoft keep on creating confusion with the name because they keep on changing name here and there every 1 or 2 years. So that's why people still prefer to use CRM sometimes when they're talking to people, new people like you. Because if I talk about C at some place, CRM at some place, you guys would be confused why he's talking about CRM somewhere, C somewhere. C is nothing. C stand for customer engagement. So CRM application is basically for customer engagement only, right? So you call it C, but it's same thing. It's same application. So whatever I showed you, the application that's called C actually.
Yeah, because some roles are advertising as CE functional consultant, so that's why I asked.
Yeah. So so C functional consultant, CRM functional consultant, same thing.
Okay, gee.
Pretty much same thing. There's no difference in job duties or what you're. Any other question?
Hey, hi, Vishal. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, Khalid. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I already told, right? I'm belongs to the embedded domain, and I'm willing to change my field to the CRM. So, like, does my the experience will count in this? Like, I don't think it's relevant, but like, how it will help me to like work in this?
Embedded domain, as in, can you tell me a little bit more about embedded?
Yeah,
Were you
actually,
embedding programming or selling something or?
yeah. So I'm working in a product-based company. So there I work as a like I want to like I have to understand the requirement of the customer, and I talk with
Yes.
my tech team. So I know I should know the technicalities as well as I have to talk with my customers. Like wise I was working.
Yes, that's true. So I would say you need to know technical part a little bit less to be functional, because
Mhm.
it's totally okay to know how to write that JavaScript or that .NET code, but you should be able to understand the requirement of customer first of all, and then you should be able to map that into Dynamics solution. If you can't do that, then you are basically missing up the first point itself. You are giving the wrong solution to customer, and customer is gonna come back, right? So if you
Yes.
don't, functional consultant are not supposed to know technical part or technical coding at all. Actually, it's good if they know it's
Yeah.
well and good. They are called techno-functional. They can claim, they can boast the term techno-functional. But as long as
Mm.
since there is Power Platform which is no code, low code, and you can write
Mm.
Canvas app and you can do Canvas app and Power Automate, which are pretty good skill nowadays in demand skill, and even using that you can say you are techno-functional kind of consultant. I would say focus for you should be on understanding how you map requirements into solution. Like,
Okay.
if someone asks me, like, someone asks you, I want to do this in Dynamics, immediately it should come in your mind, okay, I need one table, I need one view, I need this and that, right? If you don't know that, or If you can't come to that conclusion after your research, then there is a problem. Like that's what job of a functional consultant is. How you do it eventually, that's the part of developer. If you know that this can't be done using configuration, you let this leave this for developer. He can do it, and you need not to know how he's doing it, what sort of JavaScript code he wrote. It's none of your business, or you need not to worry about that, because your responsibility is that customer is getting what they're expecting. That's it, right? As long as they're happy, you're happy, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in terms of, you said like how your experience will count. It depends on what sort of experience you have. For example, let's say you have experience of talking to customer, talking to different stakeholder in your organization, for example, for doing anything related to your field. Then you're already coming from a business background, like where you understand business, you understand how to talk to business people, for example. So it's really good opportunity for to move into functional consultant. You are pretty much doing same thing, but here you are more having more knowledge of a product as well. You are talking from that product perspective to the stakeholder. Like stakeholder say something, you should be able to envision that in your product, how you're gonna configure or sell in your product.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
welcome. I think we are well over time now. Is there any other question, or I think I'm gonna stop recording and we're gonna hop off. I think, guys.
Yeah, no, Vishal,
Okay.
thank you.